For this model, we're going to take the same model we ran before with the electronic box over a hot nacelle or engine, and we're going to add this radiation shield here to kind of protect it. And we're not really thinking much about the views here. We just figured, well, let's put this shield under here and see how it works. So I'm going to go under my analysis. I'm going to make sure I still have SindaRAD selected, and I'm using the flux method, and I'm going to pick the interactive method so it will pause in SindaRAD and we can look at the SindaRAD view factor results. So now I run this and it will build the SindaRAD model and it will launch this, and then I can compute the view factors, which compute in a few seconds. And I can smooth the view factors. It happens very quickly. And now you see I have 68,000 view factors. Before I think I had about 30,000. But let's look at this model here. And what you can see is our plate here. Let's see how well this plate was doing to protect it from the hot engine. If you notice, if I right click here, double click, you can see this hot part of the engine has a pretty good view factor to this plate here, where maybe this plate down here, it only sees the top. But this one right here has a pretty good view factor, so that's probably going to heat up. But the ones underneath here, they don't have any view factor anymore because they have a shield. These, on the other hand, which are colder on this end of the engine, they have a good view factor to this end. So we can see the shield really didn't do a very good job for the ends of the box, nor for the sides of the box. It still has some view factor from the sides and from the ends. So let's just close this now and say save our results. And it will save those results into our Sinda model, and it will solve for temperatures. If you remember, we're about 81 degrees before on the hot spot on the bottom of the box. So it's done running now. It's actually not done running now. It's running. Okay, just finished. So now that it's done, we'll import. It says results imported. And let's go to wireframe here and post-process. Now it's hard to see what's happening with the box. I can see there's some gradient in that plate there a little bit, but let's just look at the box by itself. So we'll post-process on the box. We have another shield in here, another group, and then I'll just fit the box, and you can see the temperature now is 46.3 degrees instead of 81 degrees. So the temperature changed quite a bit. And let's look at the bottom of the box. You can see the bottom of the box now is cooler. It was the hottest one, but this end here, the 46.8 degrees, is really this end here, because that saw the hot end of the engine, where this end is down at 35, 33 degrees, 34 degrees, 35 maybe, because it saw the colder end of the engine. So that radiator shield didn't work very well. It protected the bottom very well, but not the sides. So let's see what you might do to a radiation shield. Let me just open a third generation of this model. And this time on the shield, I've taken and I've added a little bit of a wall on this end. So let's just see, adding that one wall on one end, how that might protect the end of this box. It's not going to protect the sides. We'd really have to build a little fence like this all the way around to protect all the sides, or make this radiation shield much bigger. But let's go and run this now. We're going to go into Analyze, and we will make sure we have our SindaRAD selected. and I will run it interactively again. So now we hit apply. It first builds our SindaRAD model. And I'm going to tell it to compute the view factors, which it's doing. Before, I think we had around 65,000 view factors. We should have a few more because we have more geometry in here. And there's 80,000 view factors, it says. Let's hit the smoothing and make this full screen. So I have 84,000 view factors in here now, and you can see that little shelf. Now let's look at this hot end here. I double right click, and you can see it sees the shield, but it doesn't see the box. If you get out here, you can start seeing the box a little bit, some of these elements. And of course the sides, or this end here, still have a good view. If you look at one end of this box here, zoom in, you can see it has a good view factor of the shield here, and then it has some view factor of the nacelle also. So let's close this and save our results. And let's look at our temperatures. It's pre-processing. Now Sinda's running. It's done running. We're going to access our results. And now you can see we have our shield with the vertical piece here. Let's look at the group only the box. And you can see the bottom now is 43 degrees. And this end that was hot before, that was the hottest side, it's now much cooler. It's down to 33 degrees. So we've shielded this end pretty effectively. And the top, of course, is cool. So that end shield where this was the hotter one with just the flat shield, that little end piece on the shield here, which I can also draw here. That shielded this end to keep it cooler from the hot end of the engine. So these are the sort of things you can do, and a lot of this design work you can just play in SindaRAD and look at the view factors to make sure your shielding is sufficient before you carry it all the way through to the temperatures. But in this case it ran pretty fast, so it didn't make any difference. So that's the end of this demonstration on SindaRAD.